I'm live. It's Sandra on day 3 of Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month. Well, I did say I wasn't sure if I was going to make the whole 31-day challenge because I said I hang around in my pajamas a lot and I like to go in the shower, to make my hair look great. But yeah, I got up and I've been in my nightshirt like all day, working hard on leaflets and posters for the UK Asexuality conference I'm going to, and also replying to emails and asexual emails, pretty much all asexual stuff for most of the day. And I thought, why not break the rules and go all out? And so I'm in my eat all night shirt, which is what I've been in for the last several hours while I've been doing my work. It took me over 3 more hours to do the leaflets for the conference. It's like, this is my own leaflets for the Asexualise brand that I'm with. So that's my own company. So yeah, it's just taken me absolutely ages. I spent about 3 hours on it the other day. So it's just been so full on busy. And now my printer's packed up. Look. See, these are all the error messages I've got from my printer packing up. I mean, really. So yeah, my hair's not perfect, but it looks pretty good to say I haven't actually been in the shower yet. I did go in yesterday, but I want to show you my Eeyore night shirt. Look, how cool is this? If I can turn it around, I'll probably have to turn it around for you. Oh, I'm putting my thumb all over it, so I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's really nice. You can't really see it, but basically it says about make a wish and it might come true. And my wish is to be a speaker on stage in London. Well, and I'm going to be at the UK Asexuality Conference in Westminster University, so that's good enough for me. Talking about asexuality, which I absolutely love and adore. So yeah, I'm really, really happy about that. And it's a dream come true for me. So it's just amazing. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Still prepping a lot of stuff. But I thought I'd do one in my nightshirt because not many YouTubers do one in their pyjamas or nightshirt. And I have actually done one in my pyjamas before, but never a nightshirt, you know? So, but I like this. What do you think? I think it makes a nice dress, actually. I think it's pretty cool. I'm a Disney girl. I absolutely love Disney. And it's got sparkly bits on this. I don't know if you can see the bits sparkling, but in and amongst the stars, it's the silver sparkly bits. And it's just so amazing that I just love it, and I thought I'd share it with you. So we are going to get to the Asexual Perspectives book, and we're going to be taking a look at 4 people in there who have got different perspectives all about whether asexuals and sexuals should be in a relationship or not, and where they think it's fair or not. So I think it's really good to explore some of the variations in opinions on that. So I'm going to go back to the camera now. So you can see me. And yeah, let's take a walk in my room. It's not the best state, but yeah. So I've also been on the computer, like I said, leaflets for the conference. So just so you can see, this is, I'm not going to show you the front bit because the top bit's the front bit, the bottom bit's the back bit. So a lot of people still don't know that I do Redbubble merchandise, asexual merchandise, and they don't realise how much I do. Like I do all different types of things like hoodies, t-shirts, clocks, bed linen, duvet sets, laptop cases, hoodies, obviously, it comes under clothing, but I do so much more other than clothing, like stickers, canvas. Someone bought a canvas recently from me. And so, but the bit at the top is to do with something very special that I'm launching soon, especially for asexuals. It'll be the world first of its kind. So I'm not going to show you the bit that's further up, so you can't see. You should just see me in my book, but there's something else up there. So it's going to be launched on the day of the conference or just before, but officially at the conference. So yeah, it's going to be really weird. I'm so excited about it. And I might have to launch it a little bit before as I'm up there, and I can't really put so much into motion beforehand, but I want to really launch it at the conference, so like officially. So it'll be so good. It's coming soon. I've just been, I've spent hours and hours on it. So yeah, it's really exciting. You're gonna love it. It's the first of its kind, especially for asexuals. So anyway, switching back to me and my funky nightshirt. So I'm gonna sit down now and read you a story. I read you from my Asexual Perspectives book. Like, these are 46 asexuals that I interviewed around the globe and across the spectrum. And I asked them all different questions about asexuality, and they all have sort of different answers. Some of them are quite humorous as well, which is really funny. So anyway, we're gonna take a sample of some of those answers. So I've got to hold the iPad and read at the same time, which is always a bit difficult. So I haven't got my cuddly toys propping up my iPad at the moment. So this is Robin's answer in his story. So the question I've asked all asexuals first is, do you believe if a sexual person had a relationship with an asexual, it can work? And what do you think about it being fair or not? Now, when I asked this question in my book, when I was interviewing people, I got a few responses back like, well, that's not a very good question because, it's not right that, it's unfair on sexuals to have a relationship with asexuals. I never asked that in the question. When I think about it being unfair or not, I actually think about it from the asexual point of view rather than the sexual one. Because I think that, some asexuals, especially us that are sex repulsed, we might have to torture our own bodies and put our bodies through sex just for the sake of pleasing our partner, which to me isn't really love. And so actually, I think it's very unfair of the sexual to, you know, expect that of the asexual. I mean, some of them do as well. Oh, sorry, I'm just putting the iPad straighter for you. So some sexuals, they just want sex and they just think it's just what they've got to have. And okay, I get it to a certain extent, I really do, but I don't think it's fair to expect an asexual to do that. And if they can't be faithful to an asexual who wants a monogamous relationship, they just shouldn't be with them, in my opinion, because it's not fair to the asexual. But I do, it's obviously up to the individual what they do. In my opinion, it doesn't work with a sexual. It's never worked with me, but not just for reasons of lack of sex, but well, actually, most of them went off with someone else, but it was bad guys I was with. So glad I'm out of that now. Anyway, this is Robin's answer. I think it really depends on the people involved. I know a few sexual to asexual relationships in which the sexual person, out of respect for the asexual partner, does not have sex with their asexual partner. However, I don't think the majority of sexual people are like that. Even those who respect the asexual partner's wish to not have sex would still want to have sex. And so form a compromise with their asexual partner about it. For example, agreeing on the amount of sex to have within a certain time period so that the amount of sex does not overwhelm the asexual partner. In other words, an asexual who wishes to have a relationship with a sexual partner should expect to have sex in the majority of cases. As much as it depends on what the sexual partner wants, it also depends on what the asexual person is willing and able to tolerate in terms of sex. I also know that some asexual people do enjoy sex, so in that case, having sex with their sexual partner at their request may not be a problem at all. So that's Robin's perspective. So we're going to take another perspective now. And this is Nikki's perspective in her story. I believe it can work between a sexual and asexual person. It would take more work and communication since expectations would likely be quite different on both sides. Obviously, this is coming from a more sex positive ace. If you have to excuse me because this is live and I'm near a train station. If someone was further on the spectrum and more sex repulsed, it would become much more challenging. I'm honestly not sure if that would work not having any personal experience. I suppose it would depend on the people involved. In terms of it being fair, I think it is fair as long as communication is clear. Obviously, if expectations clash, that will lead to problems, regardless of whether it is sex or any other expectations. That was unclear. In my mind, nothing is wrong with an asexual for not wanting sex in a relationship, and nothing is wrong with a sexual person for wanting it. I think that's a really good point. If you both go in with your eyes open, even if things change and don't work out, I think it is perfectly fair. So yeah, I think that's a really good point. There's nothing wrong with sexuals liking sex. There's nothing wrong with asexuals not liking sex. But if one's trying to make the other have it or not have it, I think that's when it becomes not good, and basically they can't be together because they can't make each other happy, in my opinion. So this is Dee's story. First of all, I'm certainly no authority on working relationships. In fact, asexuality aside, sometimes I doubt if any relationship can truly work. But cynicism aside, I think it can work in cases. For one, every relationship has its sticking point, and as I understand it, sex drive mismatch is a common problem even amongst sexual folk. I think that's really important as well. I think Dee raises a really good point that even amongst sexuals, there's a mismatch of sexual compatibility. And that's what is really wrong with a lot of dating and relationships, full stop, is our incompatibilities, both sexual and in terms of hobbies and interests. That is why it's so difficult to find an asexual person as well. Because we have physical needs. Some of us might want lots of touching, some of us might not want any touching, some of us might want lots of cuddles, some of us might be more into kissing, some of us might not be into touching at all. Do you see what I mean? So and I do, from my time in the sexual world, as it were, you can get mismatches, because you can get guys that I've come across that want it like every day, sometimes several times a day, and the woman may not want that. But I've got a friend, and if her guy can give it to her 5 times in a day, she's happy. So do you see what I mean? It's not necessarily guys, it can be women. She and my friend, she needs a compatible sexual guy for her, because she's got a high sex drive and loves sex. So yeah, which I'm obviously very different to. Anyway, carrying on with what she said, I think it's important that the sexual individual be very comfortable not having sex, and the asexual person be very comfortable with having it, ideally both. Hello, Ayub. Oh, it's nice to see you again. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I'm on the final one now. So yeah, it's nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I got a 31-day challenge on at the moment. If you've only just arrived, I've got to do a live YouTube video every day for 31 days, and I'm going away to the UK Asexuality conference soon, and I haven't finished or done much actual content prep for it yet, because I've been preparing for other stuff to do with it. I just finished my leaflets after designing after 3 more hours on it today. Anyway, I digress again, but it's nice to see you, you. So this is Zoe's story, which is the final story I'm going to read to you today. So from my own experience, I'm attracted to the person on the inside, their mindset and all that it entails, not their physical body or appearance. I suppose if someone feels sexual desire, the urge could be satisfied with just about anyone, not necessarily someone they are attracted to as a person, as evidenced by the number of one-night stands and bar hookups that are so regretted the next morning. Example, I don't know what I saw in him, her, but I was horny/drunk when it happened. So yeah, you've got like different contrasting stories there, completely different contrasting stories. And it's just like, whoa, so many different people in this book. If you haven't got the booklet, I mean, just look at all the sort of stories in it. Can you see that? I'm just flicking through now. Look, I got the bookmarks in, and I got my Eeyore night shirt on. Yes, I'm filming in my night shirt, in case you didn't know. So it's just an incredible book. I mean, I enjoyed writing it. Some people have thought, there's a few people that have been a bit critical, saying about it being like, like implying it was easy to write because it's just like interviews, but it really wasn't, because some of these people are going through quite a lot of trauma in the book. And when you're emailing backwards and forwards trying to get the editing done for the details for the interviews, you have to ask them very personal questions sometimes about what happened to make sure you get the detail correct, because not everyone's great at writing and not everyone can write competently, and some people have dyslexia, so you have to kind of like read through their words and try and get the gist of everything they're talking about. And if there's a lot of grammar errors and stuff in it, it's really difficult, especially if they've got a really sensitive topic. So with all the people in the book, the majority had like 3 emails backwards and forwards, and there's 46 asexuals. So if you think that's like 46 times 3, that's like nearly 150 emails for a start, and that's even before I start actually putting them in, fully in the book and editing all that. I purposely didn't edit a lot of it if I could help it, because I wanted the words of the asexual perspectives interviewees to shine through. I want it to be their own words, their own work, and very raw and real. I've got both British and American English in the book as well. I just want people to be themselves and speak their own language. So about the question, I think it's no way, but can be when it's one of them asexual and 2 gays, because the gays still sexuals. I didn't quite see all your message, but you think no way unless it's 2 gays. Are you? Is that what you're saying? Why would it be no way unless it's 2 gays? Because if you're asexual and gay, so a homo-romantic, unless you're poly, you still want, and you like, or you like sex and can do that with them, then it'd be no good. I've had sex in the past, but I'm not having it again. I thought I had to do it. So, and then I went to a counsellor. I split up with my ex, and then I went to a counsellor like 2 years later, and I just couldn't date any more sexuals ever again. But having said that, I did date a sexual guy last year. And do you know why? Because in my asexual perspectives book, there's a person there that's with a bisexual, and they said that sex doesn't really matter. It didn't matter that they weren't having sex with their partner. Their partner was cool about it. So I thought, oh, this is giving hope to me. But yeah, I ended up picking a guy. Well, when I say picking a guy, yeah, every guy that I'm attracted to, it seems, or attracted to me, the majority, they're just all sexual. Even, I mean, he was heterosexual. He wasn't asexual anyway. He was a guy I met just in the. It sounds really bad. Just met in the street when I was walking. That sounds so terrible. Yeah. It's not a good idea to do that, really, if you're asexual. If you're sexual, it's great. But I mean, I was chatting to him, and I didn't even kiss him for a while because I was going out on dates with him. But yeah, he was no good. He wasn't even a good guy. He was a bad guy. Um, but yeah, in his personality, which is why I couldn't date him anymore. I mean, I couldn't really because of the sex issue anyway, because when I came back in the taxi, he goes, oh, it'd be a lot better for you to be with an asexual. I said, yeah, it would. Because I was saying, I don't have to worry then about an asexual guy, going after other women for sex and stuff. And with him, I'd have to worry all the time. I don't have that worry with an asexual guy. I can't wait, in a sense. Well, I can wait because I love being single, but I mean, if I do meet the right asexual guy eventually, I kind of like excited and can't wait for that aspect that he's not gonna go, if he's genuinely asexual, this is that he's not gonna go off and providing he's not like really into sex despite being asexual, which yeah, they don't usually go together, but you never know. Then I won't have to worry about that anymore, and that'll be such a relief. That's one aspect of a relationship you don't need to worry about. But there's still other worries, like compatibility, maintaining an emotional bond and connection. I think that's really important because, when you're asexual and in a relationship or even with someone, you have to maintain that emotional connection because that is basically what binds you together, I think. Whereas with sexuals, it's the sex that binds them together. If they fall out or have an argument, they just basically like, let's have sex and make it up. It's not like that with asexuals. It's kind of like you need to keep that emotional bond going, and that requires even more communication. Sexual relationships fall apart because of the lack of communication, really, and the sex just tends to be sort of a plaster on the wound, as it were. It doesn't solve the wound. The wound is they've got a lack of communication. They have secrets from each other, and they're not open and honest about things, and they can't tell each other things. They lead separate. I mean, it's good to lead separate lives in the sense of have your own friends and that type of thing, but I don't really think you should have so much secret from each other. I think you should be able to share secrets like best friends and be really comfortable with the other person knowing pretty much anything about you. Why would you not want that? It just seems bizarre to me. So I think, in terms of relationships, communication is essential, but even more so for maintaining bonds. And I think, with asexuals, I think the reason they'd probably split up is incompatibilities of hobbies and interests, and also that the bond goes. Because, all right, you know, if you're demi-romantic, you need a strong emotional bond to form that deep emotional connection. If you're demi-romantic, you can't be romantic unless feel romance unless a strong emotional bond's been formed. So demi-romantic is on the aromantic spectrum. They don't feel romance unless a strong emotional bond's been formed, but that bond needs to be maintained. And the same with a demisexual, they need a strong emotional connection. But I think all asexuals do, regardless of what orientation you are. I think with romantics you can be attracted without the bond, obviously, if you're like a norm, you know, like if you're a heteromantic or a biromantic, panromantic, homoromantic, you know, you're not an aromantic, you don't, you know, even without the bond being reciprocated, as it were, from the other party, you can still be in love with them and still have the attraction. But I think, you know, in order to maintain a happy, healthy relationship with another asexual, I think you've got to have that emotional bond. And I think with situations where I know, even on the asexualitic side at the moment, there are people who are poly. So there's one guy at the moment talking on there, and he was in a relationship with a husband and wife, and he's asexual, and the woman was getting her emotional needs met through him that she wasn't getting through her husband. And I understand that, because I think really that asexual guys are probably more suited to many women's emotional needs, because in society there tends to be I don't like talking about society, but theoretically then in the makeup of a man and a woman, I don't like doing norms. So a woman is supposed to sort of love more romantically, it's supposed to be more emotional than the guy. um you know, supposed to be more, maybe not love more romantically is the wrong words to use, but they tend to be more emotional. It's well known that the male species, if you like, is less emotional than the female one. I like an emotional guy, but yeah, this is how the theory goes. And I think that with an asexual person, the needs of a woman in that way are far more likely to be met than with a sexual person, because I think sexuals tend to be less emotionally in tune with themselves and are less emotional and less in need of that emotional connection to sustain the relationship, because they've got the physical aspect. Do you see what I mean? The sex is what binds sexuals together, but the woman needs a lot of emotional connection at the same time. It's really difficult to explain without going really in depth on it. There's a lot of psychological studies to do with women and emotions, and women speaking a lot more and having a lot more words than men, all that type of thing. I don't like stereotypes and I try and avoid them, but I try and use them in the sense of that's what I don't want. I don't want a guy who's not emotional. I mean, what's the point in that? It's just like no empathy there. It's not good. He's never going to understand you, and he's, you know, fully, and he's never going to be like fully kind and stuff. I just, you know, I don't like it when guys aren't empathetic or emotional. I just think they're really not suitable. You know, they've got to be really careful, because there's a lot of people that aren't good in the world, and the ones that aren't good tend to be the ones that aren't empathetic. They have no empathy or sympathy, and it's like if you've been through a trauma, it's like, oh right, okay, you know, it's like they just don't even acknowledge it. It's not good. It's a sign of an abusive person as well, so you got to be really careful. Anyway, I've gone really in depth on this video to the psychology of the female and male species, but obviously there's all the differences in between now, because not everyone identifies as male or female. Some identify as agender, transgender, gender fluid, and all the rest. So it doesn't, you know, I'm just talking about traditional psychology stuff that I've learned about, you know. But yeah, so in a nutshell, I think asexuals can provide sexuals with the emotional side that some other sexuals would lack. That's what I'm saying. So an asexual could probably work in a poly relationship from the sexual point of view more than the other way around, if you know what I mean. So I'm not poly, I'm fiercely monogamous. I'm really not poly at all, I couldn't do that. But I can see how a woman would like to be with a guy who can give her all that emotional attention that she needs. I think that's why a lot of people have affairs. I don't think it's really because of the sex so much. I think it's because of the emotional connection they have with someone else. You know, and that's how asexuals can cheat as well. You know, some people think, oh, because asexuals not having sex, they can't cheat, which is simply not true. They can cheat in an emotional sense. If they are highly emotionally connected to someone else who's not their partner, and they're not getting on very well with their partner, and they're going to that other person all the time, talking to them and being with them and spending time with them, and not really spending much time with their partner because for whatever reason the communication's just broken down there, I mean, that can be classed as cheating. Do you know what I mean? It could be looked at like that. I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying it could be seen as that, you know, because at the end of the day, if the relationship's not working over a period of time, you've given it your best, you just got to give it up, haven't you, really? But it's easier said than done when you're in that relationship. It's just really tough, which is another benefit of being single. You don't have anything like that to worry about. And on that note, I'm going to leave it here because I've been chatting for like 25 minutes now. So it's really nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in again. Thanks, you, for being here again. I really appreciate it. If you've just tuned in or you're new to this channel, please subscribe below. Hit the bell icon so you get notified of every time I post a new video, especially as I'm on the 31-day challenge. And got to post a new video live every single day for 31 days for Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month, which is the whole of July, celebrating our diversity across the spectrum and our differences within it. So yeah, happy APAM. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Tell all your friends, share it. And I will see you soon. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.